She's April.
And she's Molly.
And we are
Book Besties.
But I wanted women.
She has big morals.
I just go all in.
What's going to happen with the fish? We need to know.
It's a canon event.
We're never doing this again because I need to see your tits. Hey everybody, so you get an episode just with me this week, Bestie April. Molly is recovering from surgery, which we told you all about in November, but I did bring on a guest. I have the incredible Alexandria Arden. Welcome.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
I am so excited. You are the author of the book, The Witch Queen, which is indie published. It's on KU. You can get print copies. We're going to talk more about that later in the episode. But you reached out to us. We have a form on our website, and you can get it through all of our socials to promote yourself as a creator, content creator, or an author, or whatever. And I read the synopsis for your book, and immediately, Molly and I had got in about 10 in 1 week, and I read the synopsis for your book and went, I don't care what else we pick, we're doing this one. And I'm so glad we did.
That makes me so happy. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh. Well, Molly and I both really love, so I love romantasy more than Molly does, but we both love it. But I love a good romantasy book. And one of the things that we talk about on the podcast constantly is being more inclusive in romance settings. And that is the premise of your book. You have a plus size made female character. So we're definitely going to dive into that. But thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I love doing podcasts. I love getting to talk to people. I have my own podcast. We'll talk more about that at another time. But I love getting to talk about my book, but also just about books in general and book talk and Bookstagram and, this kind of incredible community that women have created. And that is that's what I just love, so whether we talk, when I do podcasts, I end up talking about other people's books more than my own because I just love books and I love this genre. So I'm super happy to be here.
Well, thank you. I mean, you're preaching to the choir because I'm a librarian, so that's what I do.
It's incredible. That's dream job.
I really love it. And I have to share with our listeners because I've been talking a lot about the MLIS being defunded and ALA fighting, and they won in court. It happened before Thanksgiving. They won in court, so the MLIS at the federal level has been determined it cannot be defunded at this time. So libraries are looking up, folks.
Yeah, so, that's awesome. That's amazing. That's super exciting.
So speaking of drama and the TikTok, I want to just pick your brain before we get into the big meat and potatoes of your book, which is a fantastic book. There's some drama on Book Talk right now, and
isn't there always?
I mean, if there's a drama-free Book Talk, I don't even understand.
Honestly, I don't want it. I want the drama.
I don't want it. Yeah,
I like the drama.
I do too. I was explaining it to my husband. I was telling him about how there are these content creators who have been named the queens of TikTok and Book Talk, and they never called themselves that. And then everyone got mad about it. I was like, they never did that themselves.
Yeah, I know.
I just love it. But right now, the little drama is there was an author who came on and said, romantasy women who read romantasy are not the brightest spark. And then she continued on talking about how romantasy only uplifts the patriarchy and basically destroys the roles of women. So as a romantasy author, what's your thought?
Oh man, I have so many thoughts. You know what's funny is I never actually saw her original video. I just always saw people responding to it, which I think is great, right? I don't want to support her. I want to support everyone else.
100%.
So I think the part that I saw was we all know romantasy girlies aren't the greatest spark. And then she posted this follow-up basically saying that
It was not an
romantasy is
apology.
like a conservative pipeline for
Yes.
women.
So that was a part of the original video too.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that because
So
I didn't see the original video.
Yeah, that was part of the original. She released an apology. She pulled down the original video and she released a quote unquote apology in which she was like, doubled down, basically.
That's
but
ridiculous.
In her original video, because I have seen it, I think in its entirety at this point, just not from her page, she like talks about an author that she likes and a book that this author wrote, and that author was like, I keep my name out of your mouth. Like, I don't want to be included.
Yeah.
I don't want to be included in this conversation. I did not ask to be part of this narrative. And I was just like, good for you.
Yeah.
And like the audacity of her being an author and coming on and criticizing what is right now the most popular genre in publishing. Everybody wants to grab a romantasy book.
Yeah. Well, and here's what romance, let's just take it a step further, is the most successful genre throughout history.
Ever.
Romance has always sold.
Period.
Always. It goes all the way back to, stories from the Greeks and gods and goddesses. What are those? Those are romances. It goes to the penny, the little pamphlets that, were sold. There's like a specific name for them. Romance itself has such a staying power.
Yes, 100%.
That I think when there's any product, right? If you just want to take it from a specific commercial perspective, when there's any product that has that kind of staying power, you need to ask yourself, what is it that it's tapping into? And I think at the end of the day, it's tapping into the human experience. Romance is part of the human experience, period. Right. And so to sort of like, I can never understand people who put down the genre. I was actually yesterday, I'll tell you a funny story and then I'll talk about her specifically. I was at a book signing out of Barnes and Noble, and it was actually it was like this 1-year anniversary of this Barnes and Noble opening, and I was super honored that I was asked to be one of the authors there.
That's awesome.
And so they had me, and then they had a straight fantasy author, for YA. And so it was kind of, we like joked, we were like, this is amazing. We got something for mom and then something for the kids, right? Like it was great. We had like a really great banter together. Like somebody would come up and I would be like, all right, who wants the smut? Me. Okay, who doesn't? Go to him. We were just like really supporting each other. And this man like walks up, there's like a line for the fantasy author next to me. And so this other man like was like, oh, I'll just go talk to this other author. Cool. He like sees my artwork, which isn't even, it's just artwork of like two people holding each other, and he like physically recoils. He's like, oh, sorry, no. And like walks away. And I'm just like, is your masculinity so fragile that you can't see like people hugging? What the heck? Anyway,
why are men
like that? I know. I just couldn't get over it. But it's so indicative of what I experience all the time when I do signings at like a Barnes and Noble or just a regular bookstore, as opposed to going to something targeted to women, is people just sort of assuming that because the book has a romance, it somehow isn't for men, isn't good, is, lesser in some way. And I think that's like coming back to like what this woman said, or this author said, is like romantic girlies aren't the brightest sparks. I will tell you, as an author, it is incredibly challenging to write romantasy.
Oh, yes.
You try balancing world building, plot, epic plot, right? This is not like, oh, they, there's some kind of like little complicated formulaic, there's a third act breakup. No, you've got a war. You've got to build all of that. You also have to develop their characters. They have to fall in love. You have to give them enough spice to make it feel accurate. Balancing all of that in a book that is a reasonable amount of pages, which I don't even know if I did.
I thought yours was the right amount of pages.
Is incredibly challenging. All right.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Just from that perspective, like authors who write romantasy, I have so much respect for us, because I think it's really hard.
Yeah.
And then to say that romantasy is somehow this like conservative pipeline or propagating.
Oh my gosh, has she ever read
politics is absolutely like, she's clearly never read a romantasy book. Like, honestly,
clearly never.
There are, I'm not going to put down any genre,
Mm-hmm.
every single genre is going to have books that have specific ideologies that you maybe
Mm-hmm.
don't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
And will never be able to say that like a genre that is all about exploring something that's so important to women and that gets
Yeah.
overlooked is somehow like not inherently progressive and feminist. But romantasy in particular
100%.
is all about like centering women
Mm-hmm.
in like life or death situations, right? It's all
Yep.
about letting women be the main characters in a genre that has historically completely overlooked them,
Yes.
right? The only reason I even personally started reading romantasy was because I've always loved fantasy. I grew
Yeah.
up reading fantasy. I am unlike a lot of women who, I never really stopped reading. I kept reading, but it was just always fantasy. But I wanted women like as the main character, And
Yeah.
the only place where I could find that was romantasy. And then I was like, "Oh, this is great. I love the spice too," right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um
Right.
and so,
Well, and
so anyway, I
I
feel
mean,
like
I
I've
don't
droned
even
on
care.
and on about this, but
No, you're fine. I don't even care if the romantasy has spice, like even if it's just like,
me
pulling and
neither.
angst and it doesn't hit that full spice level.
Yeah.
I love the challenge of the world building
Yeah.
coupled with a story that just makes me feel something and feel empowered as a woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've always been a fantasy reader as well. I talked about this on the podcast like a few seasons ago about how the first book that I read that was technically fantasy, I didn't realize you could have books with dragons in them because all I had read was contemporary fiction,
Yeah.
for kids. So
Yeah.
kid fiction.
Yeah.
And the first one I read that had dragons, I was like, hell yeah, dragons. Let's do this.
Dragons. Exactly.
And I just, same thing. You don't see, like, we aren't in that world. We're always, I mean, I know this is sci-fi, but Princess Leia in the bikini, like, Carrie Fisher fucking hated that outfit. She hated that costume because she
No.
was like, why do I have to be naked? Why? No one else is. And, it's the same thing. It's like, why can't we just be the ones that are the heroes? Why do we always have to be saved? We don't.
Right. We don't. We don't.
We
We can
don't.
be the heroes. We can be strong. We can be powerful. We can also be all of those things and still be desired and loved.
Yeah.
And
It,
whether there's spice or not, I think that to me is the crux of romantasy is that we get
mhm.
to be the center of a story. We get to be powerful, and
Yeah.
as powerful women, we also deserve love. And that's to me what it's really getting at.
100%. And I am a newer romance reader with open door context. I only started reading that in 2020 when my brain was like, the world is on fire and everyone's
What
going
do
to
I
die.
do? Yeah.
And I was
Same.
like,
I mean, that's when I really
how do
started
I
reading
survive?
romantasy. For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. We're going to talk about that too. But yeah, I was like, what do I do to shut my brain off? I need some happy. And I really started reading a lot of open door romance novels. And I'll tell you, I've been married now. We've been married for 15 years, almost 16 years. We've been together for almost 17 years. And what I learned just since 2020 from reading romance, open door romance, and romantasy is how to advocate for what I need.
Yeah.
From
I
a
agree with
physical
that.
relationship.
Yeah.
To be able to feel empowered enough to be like, you know what? I want to try this. And my husband's totally fine with that. He loves that I read romance personally. I mean, he reads it too. He reads a lot of like RPG lit, but he reads a lot of like sci-fi romance as well. And romance is really like that only genre that like is in a part of every other genre. Like
yeah.
Romance has every subgenre under it. So I feel empowered by reading it, not just because I can go fight a war, but because I can be a woman and sexy as hell and be like, you know what? I want to do this. That's amazing.
Exactly. It's
That's
totally amazing. And it gives us the confidence and the sort of the language to say, this is what we want in our relationships. And I think that's awesome. And just one more kind of on this and then we can move on. What's interesting is as not to get too political, but as the results of the most recent kind of presidential election came out, there was of course a lot of analysis on like the differences and the gaps, right? Culturally in the United States between men and women. Lots of things to unpack there, but one of the biggest things that commentators really started to talk about is that men are not reading fiction, overwhelmingly not reading fiction, whereas women are. And we know that fiction teaches us empathy. It teaches us how to see through other people's perspectives. It teaches us that, maybe our ideas are not the only ideas in the world. And I think that that's really important. And I think that regardless of whether a book, of course, there's going to be books in any genre that are not, as progressive or as you would like. And in fact, as we talk about my book, I'm going to criticize some things that are typical in romantasy. And so, I want people to know that I, think that the genre is amazing. I also think it's okay to criticize it and try to be better and try to do even more with that, that space. But regardless, it's still good and important that women are reading.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, it is. We're also like holding up the book industry. Women in their 30s and 40s are keeping the book industry alive. So like Barnes and Noble would not be like expanding if it was not for women in their 30s and 40s. So.
And what men do read that is fiction, they almost exclusively read thrillers or spy novels, thinking like James Patterson, things like that. They read guy stuff, you know what I mean? Things that were like, oh, that's a guy book, which books don't have genres or don't have genders. So you can read whatever the fuck you want. I don't care what it is, but that, and they tend to, and this is something that Emily Henry talks about in her book Beach Read, they tend to be more highbrow readers, right? But if you write a highbrow book where a woman is the main character and the writer is a woman, they will still call it women's fiction.
Yeah. Honestly, I think my book is better classified as fantasy. I really do. Now I classify it as romantasy because that also helps me sell it, right? Like that's intentional, but there is sort of like this like stigma that the second a book is in the fantasy genre is written by a woman and has a little romance, regardless of whether there's spice or not, it's romantasy. Right.
Well,
it's a way to sort of like relegate us. Think about a series like Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. There's not spice. The romance is not the central point. I would classify that as fantasy with some romance subplot similar to any Brandon Sanderson book.
Well, and Throne of Glass is actually YA. So there's that too. But it is like once you've opened that door in the bedroom, it's okay if there's sexual content, but once you've opened that door, and then it's just automatically romantasy. Well, that's what people are saying. But
only if you're a woman, though, because
only if you're a woman.
Like Brandon Sanderson has has books that have explicit sex. He does,
but he's
fantasy.
I'll post this below. But he has a video. He was interviewed for something, and he talks about how he doesn't understand why his books are considered fantasy, but if a woman writes it, it's romantasy, when it's basically the same thing. Which good for him for advocating.
He's been really, really inclusive. Has been really good at trying to open more people who consider themselves fantasy only readers up to the genre of romantasy. I think that's really good for him to have done.
I mean, and when you get the world building like that you have in your book, that is what fantasy writers or readers rather, that's what they're looking for. The world building in your book is hands down one of my favorite things about it. Yes, I love the relationship that is between the two characters, but that relationship is in a slow burn. So I got all the world building before I got there. And I was texting my group chat with Bestie Molly and Nurse Katie like every day. You guys got to read this fucking book. Like you've got to read this fucking book.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really good. And I'm not just saying that. I promise you, I'm not just saying that.
Did I hear you got a new Carberry Librum shirt?
I did. It is my favorite design that I have of theirs.
More than the fairy wings?
I really love the fairy wings, but I really want to support libraries as a whole and not just the fact that I'm a children's librarian. Valid. So I'm gonna show off my favorite one. And before I do that, I just want to remind everybody, Carpe Librum is size inclusive. They do not shrink. I put them in the dryer, guys. I'm a big girl. I put them in the dryer and I don't worry about them shrinking.
They stretch over my double Ds, so y'all know that they're solid.
I wear a 2X in them, and it fits perfectly. I wear them to work all the time, but I got to show you my favorite one. First of all, the coloring of the blue that it is so perfect because this is based on the iconic sign that all of us have seen a bazillion times.
No.
And here it goes. Read local.
I need one now. Do they have that in purple?
I'm not sure if it comes in any other colors. I got this color because I specifically wanted it to look like the library sign blue. But
oh my God.
local.
I'm going to have to use the code and go get myself one for Christmas.
On the back, it has their slogan, read, think, act, repeat, and the website, be awesome. Readbooks.com.
I need that shirt now. Gimme.
And
gimme.
With our code this month and next month, so November and December, which is holiday 10, you get $10 off of any order $40 or more. So go get you one of these shirts and support local libraries, because supporting local libraries is more important now than it's ever been. This is also supporting an independent business, a woman-owned business.
Woman-owned.
It's amazing. It's a small business. And beawesomereadbooks.com and get your very own Read Local t-shirt.
I fucking love it. I'm jealous. I'm so jealous.
You don't have to be jealous. You can go get your own. All right. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to give your bio.
Let's
and
do
then,
it. Yeah.
If you want to, you'll give the synopsis after I do your bio. Okay.
Sure. Let's do it. Yeah.
So Alexandria Arden, or Allie. Do you want me to call you Allie? Or Alexandria?
Yeah.
Okay.
I go by Allie. Yeah.
Okay. Has been writing since she was young, somewhere between the self-consciousness of her teenage years and the soul-crushing experience that was grad school. Preach. She stopped writing creatively, convincing herself that the thing she loved doing as a child just, quote-unquote, wasn't her skill set. Lies. Cue the pandemic and the rise of popular fantasy romance books. Allie rediscovered her love of reading and stories. Throughout that process, she started an Instagram account and podcast dedicated to talking about books, which is exactly what Molly and I did.
Yeah.
She's built an incredible
event.
Yeah. She's built an incredible community of readers and authors alike, and it was this community who inspired her to revisit the childhood passion of writing. Allie lives in Salt Lake City, Utah, with her husband and the true love of her life, her cat, Willow. When she's not reading or writing, Allie can be found working in her yard. Don't put me down for that. Starting a house project she can't finish, or complaining while hiking in the Wasatch Mountains?
Yeah, the Wasatch Mountains.
I said it right. Allie is most active on her Instagram accounts at Alexandria Arden Author and at Allie Cats and Books, and I'll put those below. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I've never had my bio read aloud.
Well, there you go. That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds
good.
like.
It's funny.
I like it.
Yeah.
So your book is called The Witch Queen, and if you wouldn't mind giving us a synopsis, and then we'll get into some questions about the book.
Yeah. So, I wrote it because I was tired. I do have some criticism of the genre, of the most of this genre being new adult is how it'd be classified, as opposed to adult, right?
Yes.
Essentially tired of them being 20 years old. When overwhelmingly the market for these books is women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. And so I really wanted to explore the idea of what happens if your classic fantasy heroine fails. And so you meet Laurel, my main character in the prologue. She is your classic fantasy heroine. She's a chosen one, prophecy blessed. In the war, she's been fated to win, and then she loses. And chapter 1 takes place 300 years later. So you get to meet her as an older, more mature character, dealing with the consequences of that failure, and what it sort of does to her emotional in her life. And as a result of that war, she put magical mist around her kingdom. Nobody has entered or left for 300 years. So the world thinks that she is evil. They call her the Witch Queen. That was a very strategic decision of me to use the word witch, right? Because it's powerful women for all time have been labeled witches. And I like to say, if you've read the ACOTAR series, she's maybe like the female version of Rhysand, right? Her kingdom is maybe like the Night Court. People, they don't know what's going on in there. You get a little bit of this, you get exposure to some of that propaganda that her enemy has really spouted about her. And when the magic of her kingdom starts to falter, something's happening to it. She strikes a deal with that guy from the prologue who's still around. She still hates him to trade emissaries so that her best friend can get access to his archives. He sends his son, the Shining Prince, who is a golden retriever, kind of Prince Charming archetype, flirts with everyone, loves to wink and charm and smirk and everything. And she vows basically to kill him, or at the very least keep him at a distance. And if you know the genre, you know how that's going to go. But it does have, as you've stated, it has very deep world building. We're really only have scratched the surface of this world. It's got, I really wanted to kind of explore the idea if you have this culture of fae, right, which is a very popular trope in romantasy, but sometimes gets a little underdeveloped. If you have this culture that's around and can live for thousands and thousands of years, what are the lengths they would go to change the narrative, to change history? What secrets would they keep that would really change the face of kind of their world? And so there's so much we don't know yet. I like to say it's maybe a blend of your favorite books from Sarah J. Maas, because you've got that fae aspect, you've got that delicious romantic slow burn and tension, with like the world building of maybe Jennifer Armentrout, where you have especially in future books, you're going to have this like millennia old history that we have to kind of uncover to solve the future.
You start putting
we start to do a little bit. There's a little Easter eggs. And then, similar to like the Fourth Wing series, every chapter starts with an epigraph of a text from the world. So that's a little bit of like the spoiler-free blurb of the way that I
and one of the things I like about this is that you really turned the trope of the fae and fated mates, you spun it. It's a different look at it. And before we logged in here, you asked me if I was reading Quicksilver, and I'm reading When the Moon Hatched, but I read Quicksilver recently with my book club at work. I run a romance book club at my library, and I didn't really like it. It's just okay. It's so copy paste of some things that I really love. And for me, if you're going to do a fae book with the popularity of so many fae books, you better fucking bring it. So that's
I hope I brought it. I hope I did.
You did. Listen, I am not blowing smoke. You can go check the reviews that I did. I really loved this book. All right, so I want to start by talking about your journey as a writer. We kind of did that. How did you find your way to really, truly writing?
I have such a different journey than so many people, I feel. So again, I wrote all the time as a kid. For whatever reason, my grandma is like an insurance agent, and every single like summer they had this like writing contest for kids. I have no idea why that it was like such a thing for insurance agents, but like I entered and won that contest every year. It was like the thing,
awesome.
And I had this a previous version of my bio talked about this, but I had this ongoing story about a talking fish, and so I would write a new installment in this like short story series every year, and that's what won. And then just I don't know.
They had to keep running the contest because they needed to know what happened next to the fish.
Yeah, I think so. I like to think so. Yeah. They were just like, they did it one time as a fluke. I entered, and then they were just so enamored.
What's going to happen with the fish? Story. We need to know.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I honestly, it's so sad because like in that time, I just wrote the stories on paper. I don't have them anymore. Like, I'm really sad about that. But anyway, and then I just like totally stopped writing. In like middle school and mostly high school, did other things. College, I was an English major, but I majored, it was, for me, it was like more on like rhetorical analysis as opposed to like creative writing. And in fact, I hated my creative writing classes in college. I had to take just a couple and loathed them. And then I went to grad school. I have a master's degree in communication, but in basically feminist rhetoric. And that completely destroyed me. I really thought that I was going to go get a PhD and be a college professor, and then had a really hard time in grad school. And then literally one time was recording a podcast with a popular cosplayer. Her name's the Sassverse, if anyone's familiar with her. She's kind of stopped posting, but and we were basically lamenting this idea that like, why do they have to be 20? Why does there have to be like kind of a weird age gap? And then I left that podcast thinking like, should I just try to write a book? I mean, honestly, like that's literally how fast it came to me. Is I like recorded it, and I just like had this random thought and was like, should I just try this? And then I proceeded to spend the next like 3 weeks every night that I was in the bath, like coming up with like, well, what would I write? And that is how like most of the entire world of the Witch Queen was born, was just me like sitting in the bath, like on my notes app. And then I just was like, listen,
I love it. Like but when you were in the bath, all I kept thinking is, well, how did she not come up with a fish again? She was in water.
I know. Fun fact, the first draft of The Witch Queen, Laurel took 5 baths in 3 chapters. So had to cut that down. She does still take I think a lot of baths in the first couple of chapters. Yeah, I love a good bath. And then just was like, well, why don't I just start writing? And so I did. You know, I didn't think it would go anywhere. I was just like, let me just do this for fun. I was kind of also bored at my job. I've had my career now for almost 10 years, and it wasn't challenging me or fulfilling me anymore. Yeah. And then the first draft of The Witch Queen, I wrote it in 6 weeks, the first draft. Wow. And then it took me like another 9 months to turn that fever dream into something that was publishable, but it went really fast.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And my favorite contemporary romance author is Olivia Dade. And one of the reasons I love Olivia is that her characters are grown-ass women. They're all plus size. They're all very, very comfortable in their bodies. And like I said earlier, like learning how to love my body and ask for what I want, like a lot of that came from Olivia, like just the way that she writes. And I actually watched an interview with her yesterday. There was a live thing I signed up for, and it was moderated by Emma Barry, who is Olivia Dade's best friend and is one of my friends. So I'm so close to being friends with Olivia Dade. So awesome. Very close, but you know, she lives in Sweden. It's a little hard. But okay. So how long did the story really, like, how long were these characters with you? So you wrote it in 6 weeks, but like how long were they with you before that?
Like a month, honestly. I know it's such Molly a different question. That's not how most people answer the question.
I know what Molly's thinking right now when she's listening to this. She's probably thinking, you know what, fuck you. Because Molly is also a writer, and she has a degree in creative writing, and she's been writing a lot. And I mean, her writing, it's just never been finished. She has ADHD, and she talks about this a lot on the pod, so I'm not giving anything away. But she jumps from project to project. But her writing is good. Like, I'm not saying it's bad. It's good. She just gets caught up and then goes to another idea.
Yeah. See, I'm neurospicy as well. But the way it manifests for me is in like hobby jumping. And so when I first start a new hobby, I just like go all in. And that's kind of what happened with that. And so it was like, I was like obsessed. You know what I mean? Like it was all I thought about for like 3 months as I was like writing the first draft. And I will say, because I have that problem, once the shiny new hobby is kind of over, it's harder for me to do it. And writing book 2 has been much more of a struggle.
Okay, but
much
you
more
need
realistic.
to write it because you ended this book on a.
I know. The first draft is actually done. I did finish it. It just took me way longer than 6 weeks.
Listen, I would be very happy to be a reader for you. I would really like to do it.
I know. People, the cliffhanger is rough.
Yeah. All right. There's been a significant rise in indie publishing with programs like KU, which The Witch Queen is available on. What has the process of indie publishing been like for you? And do you plan to query for traditional publishing?
Yeah, it's a great question. I will say, writing the book was the easiest part of publishing a book independently. Writing the book was fun and easy, and everything else was hard. And still is, right? I'm still learning new things. For me, what's interesting is I never even considered that I would try to traditionally publish. It was always in my head that I was going to independently publish. For one, I didn't, this was a hobby for me at the time, and I thought I'll just publish it for fun for my friends, and like maybe I'll sell a couple books, whatever. That's changed for me now because I really have enjoyed doing this and really discovered that about myself. But it was like always I was just going to publish. And as I researched and learned more about the genre and the publishing industry and all of this, realized that, in the romantasy genre, the big book deals are coming out of the indie space.
Yes,
right?
They are.
When the Moon Hatch started independently, we interviewed Sarah A. Parker on our podcast when she was still an independent author.
Yeah.
Penn Cole, the Spark of the Everflame series, started independently.
Yep.
Quicksilver started independently. All of those authors got
Quicksilver
pisses
me off. I'm so happy that it got traditionally published. I'm so happy, but then you changed the cover for the second book, and so now I can't with that.
I know. That's the tough thing about when indies go traditional, because I understand why traditional publishers want to change it, because
they want there's a
lot of like negotiation, with because a lot of indies like pay an artist to do their cover, and that artist only makes a couple $100 because they're being very reasonable and fair for that independent artist. And then when that book blows up, that small artist is like, well, hey, I did that cover and I only made $300. Like, you really don't, so I can empathize. And I also, like, I am a reader, like I also had that happen to me, right? Like I bought the original Quicksilver cover and now it's annoying. So I get it. I think what's really awesome is when, like, and this for me, to answer the second part of your question, which is like, would I query, would I go traditional? For me, I would be much more interested in like the hybrid arrangement that someone like Penn Cole has gotten, where the publisher really just comes in to help with the physical books and distribution, which is the hardest part for indie authors, and the author maintains all of their ebook rights, all of that, because the reality is I have put a lot of money into my book.
100%.
I did all 3 versions of editing, every step of professional editing, paid for, out of pocket.
Right.
So if a publisher and I were going to do something, I would need to feel like I was going to make that investment back, and that they didn't just get to benefit from my money without paying me for it. At the moment, I have no plans to query. If anything, I would be more interested in getting an agent, which is I'm trying to do that. You are more limited, right? Once you self-publish, you are more limited in who will take you on, because many bookseller or publishers don't want it into indie books. That's changing a lot. There are a lot more agencies out there for independently published authors, because I think people are realizing like there is money to be made here. So, it's TBD, right? For me, at the end of the day, I want to be able to get my book into more readers' hands, and the easiest way to do that would be through traditional publishing. But I don't, and there's no shame or shade to anyone who does feel this way. I totally understand why people do. For me personally, I really don't have that sense of like, I won't feel like I've made it until I'm traditionally published. Like that just never I don't feel that way. I really do feel like I could be independent forever and be fine. I mean, there are some very, very successful authors who have maintained independent status. Elvie Andrews is completely independent. She makes $1 million a year from Amazon. So
Amy Award, who we've had on the podcast, she has been independently published for over a decade, and she owns her own publishing, house. Like, she's her own imprint, and she's been published under several different pen names. And it's her full-time job. It's her full-time job.
Yeah. So it is possible. And I'm kind of open to wherever the journey takes me. This is really where I'm at. Awesome. Like, I just am like, I want to keep writing books, and I would, and it is hard because I have beautiful hardcovers, but I can only really sell them to US readers. Maybe Canada if you pay for shipping. I've got a lot of friends in Australia because my co-host or a lot of readers in Australia because the co-host of my podcast is Australian. So we just have a big fan base in Australia, and I have no reasonable way to get them those hardcovers without the book costing them like $200, which is just, nobody's going to pay that. So, there are lots of benefits to having a publishing deal.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about this on the podcast too, but about indie authors coming into the trad publishing space right now because they're seeing dollar signs. These authors are already established. They already have word of mouth marketing behind them, so they know they're going to sell the books.
Yeah.
Amy Dawes, her independently published, I don't know how many books are in the 9-month contract series, but those were all indie published, and she got picked up by a traditional publisher. And now her books are everywhere, right? And she gets Teddy Hamilton to narrate them. Like, I mean, that's the journey for her. So you're absolutely right. There are so many authors that are coming out of the indie publishing world, and that's not the way that publishing industry worked previously.
No, it's really shifting in the last couple of years.
You really had to have an agent, and you had to send your whole novel physically printed sheets. And that's how the publishing industry used to work. Now, I'm fortunate that I'm in a library system that we do not have any rules against having indie published books in our library. So there are some that will only take indie published if they're local authors. But Montlake, which is a publishing house, it's an independent publishing house, which I don't know how you can say that because Amazon owns them, so it's not really independent of anything. But Montlake published books like Rebecca Yarros. All of her indies, all of her stuff, her back catalog, her contemporary romances, now that she released Fourth Wing under what was an indie house. She was under an indie house, a small publishing company that's based out of Pittsburgh. I actually know somebody that works for them.
Red Tower is an imprint of Entangled, which is a very, very small publisher.
They did not,
which is why they've struggled. I mean,
they did not.
People have really been frustrated by how the distribution of those books has gone, but you have to understand this is the scale that they have had to turn around.
It's not something they were used to.
They had ever done.
Right.
Right. So I have a lot of empathy.
Yes. And most of the books that are published in the United States are not printed in the United States. We print most of our books.
We print in the UK.
Yes. So we print overseas, and now we have to pay an import tax. So this has all led to a whole lot of stuff that we don't have to get into now, but it's why libraries are struggling right now to get books on shelves, and why Baker and Taylor, the #1 distributor for libraries in the country that has existed for 200 years, just went bankrupt. Yeah. So I have lots of feelings, and none of them are helpful right now. But for me, I can buy a copy of The Witch Queen and I can put it on my shelf. But not every library can do that. And I think that's what bothers me about the separation between indie and traditional, because there's nothing that says a book that's indie published is not as good as a book that's traditionally published. There's nothing that says that.
Anymore. No.
Mm-hmm. And I've read books that are traditionally published that I've been like, what the fuck is this?
How did this get through developmental editing? I know. Same.
This is really bad.
I know.
Yeah. All right. So let's go on. I want to get into the meat of the story. We've talked for 41 minutes and haven't even talked about
I know. I'm so sorry. I'm such a chatterbox. Feel free to move me on at any point.
No, listen, all the fans of this pod know that this is what it's like. We have never had our shit together. 5 years, 9 seasons, never had our shit together.
Yeah. So we're going to try to keep things relatively spoiler free, but we might drop a few spoilers.
Yeah. So if you are somebody that's like, I don't really like any spoilers, even minor ones, okay, maybe you might need to come back to this after you read it, but you need to read this book because I had to take a break from reading completely, then force myself to read a contemporary romance so I could start the next romantasy book that I had to read.
That's like my dream as an author.
I did not want to leave this world. It gave me a fucking book hangover. And that doesn't happen for me very often. Like, you should know that, Allie. I do not often end up with a book hangover. I have been a very avid reader my entire life. I made it my career. Yeah, I stayed up till almost 11 p.m. reading, which I do not do either. 9 o'clock's my bedtime. I am an early to bed girl. And I can't even, oh my gosh, let's talk about it. All right. So, all right, you have done some major homework in this book to help the readers out. So we have a map, which, Book Besties love a map. We have a map. We have a glossary / pronunciation guide, which I went to a lot, but I'm still not sure how to say one of the characters' names, so I'm going to need help with that. There's a trigger warnings list, and there's a playlist, which is freaking awesome. What do you hope readers will do with these tools? And what was it like making these real life components of a fictional world that you created?
Yeah. So I think, the map is really just, for me, like, I just think you have to have a map because I
love a map.
It helps you understand the dynamics. It helps you understand as we're going from place to place. And I will say, I drew the hand drew the map myself on my iPad. Every tiny little tree was me like shading it in. And so I'm very proud of my map. And I don't have a lot of drawing skills, but I did do the map. So use that as like to help you kind of center like where things are at. The glossary and pronunciation guide, one, just people like to know how to pronounce things. I also just think, similar to maybe like When the Moon Hatched, you don't really have to read through it before you start the book. It's more just as you're going. And you encounter a new term or a new word or an invented term or something, it just helps you remember, okay, that's what that is. I know what it is now, and I definitely do deep world building. I don't think it's quite at the level of something like When the Moon Hatched, where there's like tons of new made up words. I mean, even she has like a different word for like a couch. I don't go quite that far. But I think it's just helpful to refer back to. And then the playlist. So there's 2 playlists. There is just like a vibes playlist, which is basically like everything I wrote the book to. Music is really important to my writing process. And then hyperlinked in the ebook is a chapter by chapter playlist. And this is where we're starting to get into the like book theorist in me, right? Like I built my kind of Alley Cats and Books Instagram account off of Fourth Wing and ACOTAR theories about what might happen. I love that. I know how much fun that is for readers. And so the chapter by chapter playlist is a combination of, okay, this song just helps set the mood of the chapter. This song gives you more insight into the emotional journey the character is kind of on in this chapter, or this song is an Easter egg for future books. And it's really up to you to figure out which song is which. You don't have to obviously go that deep, right? I think part of the reason books like Fourth Wing are so successful is because they're both, they work for the casual reader and they work for the really deep reader. And that's what I strive for with my book. You can also just listen to the playlist, right, as you're reading the book if you want to. But you can engage on that really deep level. And then there is one extra song. So there's one extra song, then there are chapters to just help you process the ending.
To fuck with us?
To fuck with you. Yeah. And it's like, if you have my exact specific music taste, which is, like millennial woman in her mid-30s who like loves everything, the playlist is going to hit. There's Evanescence, there's Taylor Swift, there's Sleep Token, it's like, it's got like some great variety, I think.
I love it.
Yeah.
So on a related note, you also have some artwork, some character artwork. Did you commission for those? Did you pay an artist for them?
Of
Are
course,
they in the print? Are they in the print version, or are they?
No. So, I don't have a special edition yet. The print version just has. So there's two things. If you buy the print version on Amazon, the chapters just have the like names of each person, which is what the ebook looks like. The print version on Amazon has a bonus scene. So if you do get the book on Amazon, you get a bonus chapter. It is a good, it's a spicy bonus chapter.
Now I need it.
If you, but I also like, I work in tech. I work in corporate America. So like I support like product teams. And so, I just think about these kinds of things from a price point perspective. I'm never going to beat Amazon. Amazon's always going to have the cheapest option, but it was really important to me to incentivize readers to shop local, to shop, their independent bookstore. And so if you buy the book from your independent bookstore, it has custom chapter header artwork. So it will instead of just saying Laurel, it says Laurel, and it's this beautiful like kind of drawing, and then Hawthorne has his own drawing, and Amicia has her own drawing. So that is the only artwork that exists in the book today. That's also in the hardcover, which you can only get from me. So it is more expensive, to buy it through either from me or through your independent bookstore, but you do get a little bit more for that.
Yeah.
But the actual artwork, like the character artwork, is not in any of the books. I would love to do a special edition. My priority has really been to get books 1 and 2 out first, and then kind of explore special edition world, because this is me figuring it all out and designing it, finding the cover artist. But all of my artwork, you can go to my website alexandriaarden.com. There I have an artwork page. Every artwork I have commissioned is on there, and I have tagged the artist. So they're all human artists. They're all paid a very decent living wage to do their art. There's no AI art, and it's it's beautiful. I have amazing artists that I've gotten.
Yeah, I've seen some of the things that you've posted on to your social media, and I want it.
yeah. I have for right now on my website, I have a Kindle insert for sale. It's really cheap. It's only like $8, and it's a double-sided Kindle insert. So you get 2 different pieces of artwork. So that's the only way that I have that you can buy it right now. I am working for when I release book 2 on being able to do more of like character cards, like post so like that kind of stuff that you can buy when you buy book 2. It's just that all takes time to figure out how to print it, how to ship it, how to print it at a margin that makes sense for me, right? Like I also like don't want to charge people $20 for like a piece of paper. So
remind me after to give you the name of my friend who is also an independent author who does her own artwork and can walk you through that whole process.
Awesome. I will give you her love that. I'm always looking for new connections.
She was a roommate of mine in college, and she's just wonderful, and I'm sure she'll help you out. And also, we have a local bookstore, a local romance bookstore here in the area of Virginia where I am. So you need to get your book in their store.
Definitely.
They have this new thing that's basically like a Scholastic, like the Scholastic like book flyers that you would get in school. They have that, but it's all romance.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. So that sounds incredible. I'll have to. I'll get the name of the bookstore from you, and then I'll email them.
That's Novel Grounds. I'll tag them below. We've been there and done live recordings there. It's a great local bookstore. Definitely support them. All right, so while on that page, I want to talk about the world building, which we've talked a little bit about. But one of my biggest beefs, like one of our biggest beefs on Book Besties, is when an author does not do enough to like fill out the world. Yeah. And if you're building a fantasy novel, you need to do that. You have to fill in those gaps because this is not a real world experience. That's not the case with The Witch Queen. You filled out the world wonderfully.
Yeah.
So how did you keep all of this straight? There's a lot of characters. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a war, but there's also like almost like a terrorist group. Is there a murder board for the Witch Queen?
There was a murder board for book 1. I did something very similar. I actually heard Rebecca Yarros talk about this in an interview and was like, oh, that's a really good idea. And so she says when she plots, she puts scenes on different colored note cards to sort of say like, this scene is world building, this scene is romance, this scene is character development, this scene is plot or whatever. And so that is how I really laid out after I wrote the first draft of Witch Queen, really laid that out to kind of, because that to me, the big thing about world building is that you have to make sure you're stretching it. It can't just all come at once. Yes. It has to be interesting. But you also have to give people enough to get them interested. Right. And so that is how I really plotted it. To make sure that like all the beats, you were always kind of getting this balance of like character development, world building, et cetera, et cetera. But then beyond that, I will say my notes app on my phone is where everything is, and it's so chaotic. Like I know like this, some of these things sound so crazy to people, you know, because there's some authors who are really prim and proper. They have like documents and everything, and I'm just like, nope, I just keep it all in the notes app because it works, because as I have a thought, it's actually very, for the chaos, it's very organized, you know, so it's like different notes, and it's not just like your standard notes app, it's like more of it's like one you pay for. But as I have a random thought, I just go put it in, you know, wherever I am. Because
if Abby Jimenez can write all her books on her phone, you can have a chaotic notes app on yours.
Like, I have all of the world, everything for the future of this series lives in this little device right here.
And is backed up somewhere, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It is also all in my head. Like I don't know that I would forget it, but maybe.
Listen, it better be backed up and backed up and backed up and backed up. If you don't finish the series, I'm gonna cry. All right. I absolutely love that you give the reader extra information through the use of the excerpts of history texts that you know you're writing. It's the characters are researching these pieces, and we've seen this in popular series like Fourth Wing. The difference here is that you're balancing several texts and across history, whereas Fourth Wing seems to be more from the perspective of one character writing everything down. Yeah. So, what inspired you to use this narrative device?
Yeah. So honestly, I loved it in Fourth Wing. I thought it was really interesting and unique. And I thought, as I was thinking about world building, I realized, you know, it's a great way. And I don't know that Fourth Wing totally does this, at least Fourth Wing itself. I think future books do. I think the way that the epigraphs work in Fourth Wing is more just like extra. Like, I don't think that they really do a ton to add specifically to the world, but I really liked it as a way to add to the world. Like, there is information and world building that you get that you only get in those texts. Like, you know, that is critical. I also loved it as a way to lay Easter eggs.
Oh, and you do.
Yeah, yes, I do. If you know where to look, the ending of the 5-book series is in one of those epigraphs. I tell people.
Fucking hell.
I know.
Now I know.
Now you're going to have to go look at me. I know. I want to encourage rereading and theorizing. It's like my dream to like just like someday get tagged in like a theory video and somebody's like going like nerding out like, this is what's going to happen in the future of the book series. So if you love that, please tag me. It'll make my day. And the other thing of this is like, I have this background in like rhetorical analysis and, you know, sort of studying like primary texts, secondary texts, doing like cultural criticism. And so you get a little bit of that through Nemesia's story, right? She kind of laments at times, like, none of these are primary texts. They're all secondary texts. They're summarizing or talking about older texts, which is sort of an indication to you readers that like, why is that?
It why? Really,
yeah, exactly.
It really
Things could have been changed. Why do we have any primary texts?
It scratched my English major and librarian master's brain. I was going, oh yeah, they're hiding something here. They're hiding something.
There's something being hidden. Being hidden. So there's a lot. Actually, not just something. There's a lot. So it's like that's kind of that for me. It was really this way to kind of use that skill set of mine, and the tone of those texts is very different. It's very like academic, very like. So which is, also like, again, like I made it pretty far in getting a PhD. So before I gave up on that dream and just got the master's degree instead.
Gotcha. Yeah. I love whenever there's somebody doing research and it's in a library. But I'm not going to say this here because I don't want to spoil things for people, but I really, I really want to curse you out for something in the library.
Maybe we can talk about it at the very, very end, and you can give me my cursing.
We'll see. All right.
I think I know what you're talking about.
So the Witch Queen includes several different first-person POVs, including Queen Laurel, Prince Hawthorne, or Thorn, King Mazus, and Laurel's right hand, Nemesia. So
like nemesis.
That works. Yeah. Nemesia. Okay. It was the one I was really struggling with. And you know why I was struggling with it so much? Because I used the talk to text to listen to this from my Kindle as well.
Yeah.
So that I could I had to finish it very quickly. And it was worth it. I didn't want to stop reading, and they don't know how to say that word.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
So I was like, that can't be right. I need to just ask her.
Yeah.
Each character truly has their own voice. How did you go about writing the POVs? Did you like do it in chronological order of the book? Did you skip around? Did you stick with one character? How did that process look for you?
Yeah, for me, it was very much the chronological order of the book. It didn't even occur to me, honestly, to write it any other way, because like, I do think the thing for me that also people say, and it was intentional, is like the emotional journey of these characters is so significant.
Yeah.
And so like, how could I write something in the future when I don't know where they are, like I needed to go on that emotional journey with them, especially because I was writing for the first time. So it was very much chronological, and then just making sure that I did a lot of in the editing, a lot to make sure that their voices felt different. And that their POVs were unique. So it was not something that I did well initially, just so people know. And then I had to go back and change and do that and make sure I did that. This is why we edit.
Obviously.
But I'm writing book 2, or I have finished the first draft of book 2. And as I was doing it, I'm adding 2 new POVs to book 2. I have announced this on my Instagram, so I can tell people here, Fionn and Celine will get POVs.
The review that I did publicly, I'm sorry to cut you off. The review that I did publicly for this book, I said that I felt like we were just touching the surface with them, and that we would be getting their POVs in future books. Yeah. So there you go. Someone had a fan theory that panned out for you.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, you'll get Fionn and Celine, and book 2 is really interesting. I won't expand on that, but for whatever reason, I had to write book 2 more one character at a time. So I changed the way that I did it in book 2, actually. I wrote, I would write like 5 or 6 Fionn chapters in a row, and then intersperse them at the right time.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I kind of did it differently in book 2. I just kind of approached what I needed differently.
Yeah. Well, I cannot wait. All right. So sexual fluidity appears to be common in this Fae world that you've created, including several queer characters that are both male or female. And we actually have a queer couple, which we're going to talk about later. Will you be exploring more of the fluid sexuality of the Fae in the future books?
Yeah, this is such a great question. I told you that because nobody's asked me this yet, actually. But it's so important because honestly, for me, I was just thinking to myself, like, if people actually live like thousands and thousands of years, like, I just feel like everyone would be kind of bi. Like, I just think that everyone would just be more like open because they've been alive for thousands and thousands of years. And so we've really only scratched the surface of that. There's a character named Carrix that people kind of hate, who says at one point to Laurel, this is a tiny spoiler, but not a big one, like, look, even my parents, because he's trying to convince her that they can get back together. And he says, even my parents would tell you, who've been married for thousands of years, that they've had different marriages and they've gone away from each other and come back to each other, and et cetera, et cetera. And even for me, I'm in a monogamous kind of heterosexual marriage, but and I've only been married for 5 years, but I would say that even in that 5 years, our marriage has been different, like there
There's
have been like
seasons of
different
it for
phases
sure.
even in that.
Yes.
And so the idea that you would be alive for thousands of years and not just like need to do different things and shake it up, like it just didn't track for me. So
Yeah.
we'll definitely be exploring that. There will definitely be additional queer relationships. There will definitely be more kind of sexual fluidity, different Laurel and Hawthorne are sort of like your classic romantasy relationship. It's heterosexual, it's monogamous. Even though,
but
you get
he flirts with men too, and we get like a brief little thing that implies that he maybe like dabbled with
he's
some
maybe
men.
not totally exactly.
Exactly.
But so in future books, you'll start to see different types of relationships. Is what I'll say.
I love that because I feel like love is love. Like we talk about that a lot on here. And I'm sure I'm going to thank you for our resident bi, Molly, because she likes seeing herself in books too. But, she is in a marriage with a man. And so she gets asked the question a lot, well, how can you be bi if you're married to a man? Because men are half of that equation. Like I'm married a man. It's just one of the genders. But so I actually wrote that question well early in the book, like
super early,
right when I really got to the part where Thorne was really talking about and starting to flirt with Carrick's, and I was like, ooh, what's going on here? Also, my brain really loves an MMF. I really do. And I've read so many MMFs in the past year that I'm like, oh, well, that could go with this. But anyway, just
my lips are sealed.
Throwing that out there. All right, so we love a plus-size female main character here on Book Besties. Laurel has curves to bring a man to his knees, literally. Unfortunately, plus-size women aren't usually represented in romantasy. It's always these, like, big guys and these small girls. So why was that inclusion important to you? And talk to me about Thorne, who is down bad for Laurel's curves and her boobs. He loves
her boobs. Shocking. I know. It's like one of those things that like I didn't really realize was so intense until like readers lovingly started joking. I have one of my best like beta readers and alpha readers and just really great support of the book. You should follow her books, Cats and Tats. Her name's Joanne on Instagram. She just like loves, like she's like, I just like need you to make like an I love boobs Hawthorne shirt, like put him in artwork in a t-shirt that says I love boobs because he's so obsessed with them. I was like, fair. So, for me, like I am plus size, but I am also very strong. I lift weights. I am, my husband will tell you all day, every day that I'm way stronger than he is. And he's more kind of classically fit looking. And it just always like, this is just like a personal thing because I have been on I do lift so many weights, and protein is like, I'm a vegetarian. Protein is this like constant thing in my life that I'm thinking about and trying to get more of, and et cetera, et cetera. And it just like, I've always had this beef with romantasy that like they learn to lift a sword overnight and they're eating like bread and ale. And I'm like, nobody is building muscle without protein. So just like
sometimes it's important to the plot, like when you get Fourth Wing and you have Violet, like her having oh gosh, I forgot what it was that she has, but Rebecca Yarros has it too. Thank you. And
I actually love that. I loved, because that is like one of the things that they recommend for people with Ehlers-Danlos to, weight train, to strength train. It does help. Muscles do protect our ligaments and our joints. And so I loved that in Fourth Wing. I really did. And I wanted a different version of that. I wanted a character who had curves, but didn't limit her in any way. And
body size doesn't have anything to do with health either.
No.
I don't understand why we think that women that are 300 pounds are unhealthy, but men that are on the football team that are 450 pounds are healthy. Like why that standard?
Yeah. And there can be women who are 150 pounds and are not healthy.
Not healthy.
It is just, I wanted to bring that diversity, that perspective to this genre, because there's not enough of it. And at the same time, it was so important to me that I showed a plus size character who was worshipped by her partner.
So much so.
Because the idea that we have to be thin, that we have to conform to traditional beauty standards to be desired and loved is just something that I really wanted to push against and talk about. And for the most part, Laurel is all she knows who she is. She's not afraid of it. She is like, give me a red lip, give me a tight fitting dress, and I will be sexy as hell. She has a couple of moments where she questions if she's enough. I also thought that was important because even if she doesn't have this body shame, her body is different, right? It is talked about how her body is different than the rest of the bodies in the world. And so to me, the idea that her body would be different and she would never talk about or, kind of worry about that didn't seem realistic to me either.
It doesn't. You're right. Absolutely.
And so, yeah. And so, she has a couple moments where she wonders if she's enough, but they're also not, it's not the whole book, right? She's not sitting there being like, he could never love me because I'm too curvy. Most of the time she's like, dude, yeah, look at this. Look at me. I'm on display for
Honestly,
you. And that is a power for her.
100%. One of my favorite things that she does is she walks naked to the bath and like looks back at him because she knows that he is like ready to like literally salivate and like follow her like a little puppy. I married a boob guy, and in his family they say women have big morals. That's their thing. She has big morals. And so I was like here for the boobs. I don't know, maybe this is a spoiler and you can tell me if you want me to cut it out, but the scene where they have sex, but they're not naked. And he's like, we're never doing this again because I need to see your tits. Like, I was just like, I was literally laughing so hard. I was like, that
I don't think
real.
that's a spoiler because you don't know where it is or whatever, but yeah, I know. I
loved it.
It's so funny because it's just like that kind of like that characterization of Hawthorne just came so like that. It was just who he was. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm a boob woman. Maybe I am. I don't know. But he's obsessed with her.
He likes boobs.
He does. Fine. And he likes her curves and he likes her behind. And she really uses her body as a tool for her. And I think that's a tool that she is in control of, right? She talks a lot about how the witch queen, this persona that she is sensual and sexy. And, people are both enamored with her and terrified of her because of how she presents herself and her curves. I
love it.
And I wanted to write that. I wanted to write that character because I wanted to read that book. I mean, at the end of the day, I wrote the book that I really wanted to read in this genre.
Yeah.
And wasn't finding.
I love it. All right. So fated mates are a thing of fables in this book, which was an interesting take on that trope. So what made you decide to flip this trope upside down? And also, you have another interesting take on mates. Mates reveal themselves through the not just scent in general, but the scent of their blood specifically. So I want to know how you came up with this.
So I'll have to pass on the blood answer because I'll just say pay attention to that. That's maybe really important for the future of the world building. But think about it, right? We have blood magic. Blood magic is a thing. That's sort of the feared thing in this world is blood magic. And so it's probably significant that mates find one another through blood. And
I thought it was an interesting take on it because that's not
it is. Yeah, absolutely. And part of it is just like the way that the book came to me was I call them like anchor scenes. They were these scenes where I just like, it was so clear to me what was going to happen. And I was always kind of marching towards those anchor scenes. And a really early anchor scene was the training scene where this is kind of a spoiler. So if you don't want that, you can go read the book. But where, they kind of both spill each other's blood and that's kind of how they realize that they're mates.
I never thought bleeding would be so sexy.
I know, right? And it comes, like I grew up reading vampire books. Like vampire
Of
books
course
were
you
the original
did.
like romance. So for me, it was like I wanted to kind of just like bring that like sexiness of vampires to the Fae, and they're not like it's not like a drinking blood situation, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And then in terms of like making it fables, it really I just kind of came up with that. I was just wanted to make it different. I really, because again, I just wanted to make, if I was gonna do your classic romantasy story with fays
Mm-hmm.
and fated mates and all of the above, I tried, it was an intentional thing where I was like, how can I flip this trope? How can I flip this trope?
Yeah.
How can I do this a little bit differently? And that was just one of the things that I
Well, and it
decided to do.
allows you to have the slow burn too, because when you do
Yeah.
have the mates trope, it's so quick. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it's like that instantaneous. They see each other, and it's almost like love at
Yes.
first sight.
Yes.
But this allowed for them they built a relationship before they even knew that they were
Exactly. Yeah.
fated
And
mates.
the other thing that's different is like just because they find out that they're mates doesn't mean that they're
They
suddenly,
don't have to accept it
they don't
either.
have to accept it, they don't have to act on it, and it did not feel um congruous with Laurel's character that she would just jump headfirst into this
Yeah.
myth, this thing that has never been seen before in her
Yeah.
world. She would be cautious, she would be, we got to figure this out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, so I want to talk about a side story here that revolves around two semi-minor characters. One of them's more of a major because she has a POV.
Yeah.
Nemesia, did I say it right?
Nemesia,
damn
yeah.
it. Nemesia and Genevieve. Nemesia meets Genevieve while in the library in Velmara, which is the rival kingdom. It's Hawthorne's kingdom.
Yeah.
Geneva is quiet, pretty much ignored librarian. Tell us about how their story evolved for you.
Yeah. So what's so interesting is, I've always heard authors talk about how like characters kind of have their own will, and
Mm-hmm.
like you are really discovering that. It was not planned for Nemesia and Genevieve to be together. That was not something that I ever expected. Genevieve was just this side character who was going to kind of help us see the difference between how Velmara views females, and to give us sort of that history, that to add to
Mm-hmm.
the richness of how Mazis really vilifies Laurel, and then to just be a guide for Nemesia. That was sort of her purpose initially.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was writing them, I was like, dude, they like each other. And it just kind of, it came to be, and it was this very and what I liked about it as I was writing it is it was such a different type of way to fall,
Mm-hmm.
maybe not in love, but to fall into strong caring for one another.
Mm-hmm.
So different from Laurel and Hawthorne. It was this quiet, natural, organic kind of thing. And then unfortunately, because it wasn't planned, it had to end. And the way that it ends is really, really sad and really heartbreaking. And it really, I'll just say, I really wrestled with this about whether I was going to do this or not, because in so many books, queer romance becomes the sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Queer
Bury your
love
gaze.
becomes the thing that we have to give up. Black women, which Nemesia is, have to become the super strong person. And so it really, really was hard for me to choose to do that, because I didn't want to feed into those stereotypes.
Mm-hmm.
And if any reader is frustrated or upset with me, please know that I thought about that. And the reason I did it is because there's so much more to come for
Mm-hmm.
Nemesia. So much more. And in some ways I kind of like the beauty of starting with that horrific kind of way that we look at queer love and we look at Black love, and doing it then giving it a very different story in the future. So,
Yeah.
it was definitely a really hard decision for me to make. And I almost just didn't do it, but I was like, that's just not the story. Like, and now Nemesia is, when we think about where she's going to be in book 2, she has a really intense emotional journey to go on.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to give her such a unique and interesting inner life. That side characters often don't get. So especially the best friend type, so yeah, so that their story was not I didn't expect it, but I loved it, and
I liked it
it
too.
really is heartbreaking the way that it ends, unfortunately.
I don't even want to talk about it, okay?
No, I know. I honestly tear up when I think about it. I cried writing it. I did. I was really sad because I love Genevieve so much. And she deserves so much better, but that is also that is the world that Mazis has created, the culture of Velmara that he's created. Is this feeling that women or females are a tool to be used by the men in their family.
Yep. You are very distracting. What are you playing with?
It's my bookmark. It's not broken yet. Can you believe that shit? It's still not broken.
Is that one of the Carpe Librum bookmarks that they sent us?
It is my Carpe Librum bookmark. It is my new favorite fidget. It's a butterfly, guy. It's a butterfly. Ah!
What does yours say?
It is readers are cool.
So I have this one that says readers are cool also. I like the the blue and white pattern with the glasses that basically look like my glasses. But I also have this one. I've Born to Read, Forced to Socialize.
I've been fucking with this and flapping it and using it since it came out.
Every episode since you got it.
And it doesn't make noise. It works in my book still.
I love that they don't move when you have them in your book or your notebook. I've been using them to bookmark in my
the other day and it kept my place.
It doesn't. And it doesn't bend the book either. They have a 14-step proprietary system for making these bookmarks. And they've perfected it over time. And they're so much stronger than other magnetic bookmarks on the market.
Talk about strong is there's damn tote bags.
Yes, their tote bags are so strong.
I swear I could put a bowling ball in it.
I have been carrying mine everywhere. And I took it to Barnes & Noble.
Your backpack broke.
My backpack broke. I took it to Barnes & Noble and I had 12 books in it and it was still holding up without any straining or anything.
# library certified.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So speaking of awesome, be awesome, readbooks.com. That's where you can get all of this stuff from Carpe Librum, our sponsors. They are the bookish shop for bookish people. One of their other slogans is Read, Think, Act, Repeat, which is on the back of all of their shirts. And they are size inclusive. That's very important to us. I wear a 2X and it doesn't shrink when I put it in the dryer, which is 100% hands down super important for someone who is a big lady like me. And this month and December, so November and December, with the code holiday10, holiday10, you can get $10 off any order of $40 or more. So buy shirts for your bookish friends. Right. 2 shirts will get you there. Yeah. So buy holiday shirts, buy shirts for your bookish friends. They also have
a bookmark off.
I know.
So in girl math, you're saving money.
You're saving money. It's like getting it for free.
It's like getting it for free, guys.
So yeah, use our code holiday10, get yourself $10 off, buy some shirts for your bookish friends or magnetic bookmarks.
Readbooks.com, guys.
Be awesome, readbooks.com. All right, so as any good fantasy novel does, this book has an epic battle with the goodish guys versus the baddish guys. And I'm using ish there because it's important in this book. Without giving anything away too much, can you tell us a bit about what we can look forward to in book 2? And how many books do you have planned for the Thyaria? Is that how I say it?
Thayaria. Yeah.
Thayaria.
Yeah.
Thayaria.
Or Thayar Crown is the series name. Yeah.
Listen, I was saying it right. I don't know why I said it wrong here. But.
No, that's okay. That's okay. So I have it plotted for, this is going to sound insane. And it sounds insane to me when I say it, but it is what it is. I have it plotted for 5 books with a novella coming after book 2 and then a duology prequel series that will come out after book 3 and book 4. So I have all of that plotted. It's insane. It's insane. I don't, I have only now written 2 books, because I have the first draft of book 1 done or book 2 done. I will say book 2 actually followed for the most part how I had it plotted. So I think I'll stick to 5, but I'm leaving myself open because I just have no idea, there's a lot of threads that I've opened up that I got to close. And, that's what I think it's going to be. In terms of book 2, you know, I don't want to, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I will just remind readers of, you can really understand what's going to happen in book 2 if you understand where the characters are at the end of book 1.
Mm-hmm.
Laurel,
I have a theory, but I don't want to say it here. I'm going to tell you after we stop filming.
You know, everyone who says to me, I'm dying for book 2, I'm like, you sure about that? You sure you want to read book 2? Because think about where the characters are. Nemesia is grieving. She's pissed off at her best friend. Laurel's been betrayed by the most important figure in her adult life. Her mate has been taken. This is a spoiler. She's not okay. We have Celine, who is still unconscious, and Fionn, who's just like, what the fuck do I do about all of this? So, you know, these are not in a great place at the beginning of book 2. They got a lot they gotta do to get to any sort of sense of happy ending, which is obviously not coming for 5 books. So
respectfully, Allie, fuck you.
I know. Listen, the other thing about book 1 is it is a very kind of up and down from a pacing or a journey perspective. You get a lot of like intense emotional characters, and then I reward you. I give you these really sweet scenes, right? Like the Christmas scene or whatever. That will continue in book 2, right? Okay. It will be torturous, but you will also get rewarded.
Okay. I will stick with you on the journey of all the novellas and prequels and books.
I know. It's crazy, and I hope that I don't turn people off. But and the reality is the prequel series you'll be able to just read the main series without needing those other series if you don't want them.
So here's the thing though. I think this is my perspective as a reader and not a writer at all. If you ropes people in like you did with this first book and you don't throw it away with book 2, they're going to stay with you for this whole series.
I think so too.
Because book
2 is so important though.
the sophomore slump is real.
Yeah.
And it's a hard thing for a lot of authors, but if you nail it, we're with you the whole journey. I mean, I'm with you the whole journey anyway, because I loved this book and I'm here for it. So I'm going to be with you.
You know, what's great though, is I know that as a reader, right? Because I'm approaching this as a reader myself. Yeah. And so, you know, it does not help the pressure for book 2, but I know that that book 2 has to be epic.
Yeah.
So
it does.
You know, that's why it took me so long to write the first draft.
I mean, it's fair because you only wrote the first one in 6 weeks. Like, that's not normal. Yeah. That's not normal, Allie.
No.
All right. So what's next for you? Do you have any upcoming appearances, and where can people follow you? And I will link all that below.
Yeah. So 2026 is a really big year for me, actually. I finally am going to book conventions. So I will be at a book convention in Vegas in March called, I think it's just called Romance Con or something. In July, I will be at a very big book convention in Nashville, Tennessee called Teas and Tropes. It's a big convention. Stephanie Garber is the featured author. You know, all of your favorite kind of cosplayers are going to be there. We've got, you know, Teddy Hamilton is going to be there doing a panel, all those things. So it's a massive book convention. There's a fantasy ball. I'm really excited because I'm hoping that by that point, book 2 will be out and I'll be able to sell special editions at that convention. No promises. That's just my hope, but that's kind of what I'm working towards. And then I will be at a convention called the Dark Flame Society in Kansas City in November. And so those are the 3 big conventions that I'm in for sure right now. I've got a couple other applications out, but those are the ones that I know for sure. The other thing is like totally unrelated, like total genre switch, but I have a hockey romance that I'm writing. Because
I love hockey romance.
I love hockey romances. So I live in Salt Lake City, Utah, and if you are a hockey fan, you know that Salt Lake got a new hockey team in the NHL last year. This is their second year. My husband and I went to like so many games last year that we decided to get season tickets this year. So we're season ticket holders. And I just like, I never really got into the sport except for loving hockey romances. And now I'm really getting into the sport. And so I just decided, like, it was just like the story that wouldn't shut up in my brain. And now I have a first draft. So at some point in 2026, I have a hockey romance coming out. It is actually going to be about the first female ref in the NHL, is kind of the way that I'm doing it a little bit differently. So it'll be a little bit of a forbidden romance, maybe some workplace dynamics, those kinds of things. I don't have a release date yet, but I have a cover. It's amazing. So hopefully more things to come. You know, I'm going to be pretty quiet here in the next, like in the winter. And then I think starting in like February, March,
nice,
you're going to hear a lot from me.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right. So you also have something going on right now. You have a little giveaway. You want to talk about that?
I do. So, like I said, I have beautiful hardcovers. I wish I had one that I could grab and show you on here. But it's the same cover as the paperback. It's just in really, it's like glossy. It's a red, the book itself is like leather red. And so I can only really give them away in the US or sell them in the US, but I am doing a giveaway through the end of 2025 to give away 3 of those hardcovers. And I have said that it will be international. So I will pay to ship them internationally all over the world. But the way that you enter the giveaway is you have to read the book and review it. I'm trying really hard to get to 200 reviews on Goodreads. That's just a milestone that I want to get to. I think I'm like 50 away right now. So, you know, hopefully lots of people will hear about the book and read it. And you have to actually, you can't just like give it stars. You have to like write a review. But if you go to the links in my bios of all my social media pages, TikTok, Instagram, there is a form. So what you do is you read the book, you review it, you take a screenshot, and then you submit it to the form. You don't have to review it 5 stars. It's okay if it's a 3-star book for you. That's fine. You just take a screenshot and put that up there, and then that gets you an entry. The awesome part though is every single place that you review it is a new entry. So if you post on Goodreads, that's an entry. You post on Amazon, that's an entry. You post on your social media, that's an entry. And then if you refer the book to somebody, if you say, hey, I really want you to read this book, there's a question on the form where you can put their name. And so if somebody puts your name, you actually will get 2 entries. So lots of ways to get entered, 3 hardcovers, and for really intense readers and lovers of the genre, you are also going to get a handwritten letter from me with Easter eggs for book 2. I've written the draft of that letter. It's very cheeky. It's very fun. And it has a lot of things, a lot of little clues. You'll also get artwork, stickers, bookmarks, other cool merch and things like that. So it's a really fun giveaway, and you can win a lot of cool stuff.
Awesome. And what's the name of your podcast?
It is called the Romantasy Readers Podcast. Thank you so much for asking. I am a romantasy girl through and through. So we only talk about romantasy. Occasionally we branch out, but for the most part, we keep it pretty straight to romantasy. We cover all the big books. We just posted an episode about Mate by Ali Hazelwood. We did a Quicksilver recap. So if you're trying to read Brimstone, we do lots of recaps. We do fun theories. We have lots of like SJM mass verse theories, lots of fourth wing theories, and author interviews. We interviewed Sarah A. Parker. We've interviewed Penn Cole. We've interviewed Daniel Jensen twice. So there's really, really great content that you can check out if you once you're caught up, of course, with all your Book Besties episodes.
Yes, please listen to us first. No, just kidding. And are you on all the streamers so we can?
Yes. Okay. Apple, Spotify, YouTube.
Everywhere you can find us, you can find Allie. So
yes, exactly. And my co-host Nicole is Australian, so you know you get you get her awesome accent all the time.
Love that.
We love saying character names differently. It's just really fun. We also try to keep it really like light. So there's a lot of podcasts that are about romantasy that really, really deep dive. And I think that's great. And there's a space for that. Ours is not, it's intended not to be a deep dive. It's intended to be like you're catching up with your besties about your book. Our Quicksilver recap.
Exactly what we do.
Yeah, we literally just sat there and we're like, what do we remember about Quicksilver while drinking wine? So
Well,
fun.
if you ever need a guest, feel free to,
Yes.
I'm your girl. I'd love to come. I've never been on another podcast besides ours.
Oh my gosh, we gotta get you. We gotta get you
Yeah.
on there. It'll be super fun. Our favorite thing to do, just so you know, so we are pretty unique in the like romantasy world. We think that there are two mates in the Sarah J. Maas universe. I won't spoil it in case you haven't read all the books, but we think that there's a cross series mating pair. And not a lot of people think that we're right. We're very convinced. And so our favorite episodes to do are to take people who've never really heard about that theory and then walk them through all the evidence, and their minds are just blown. So maybe we could do that if you have read all
I
of
don't know that
SJM.
I'd be the best person for that, because the only thing I've read in the SJM universe is A Court of Thorns and Roses in the first book in the Throne of Glass series. That's all.
Yeah. You got to
Right
do
now,
Crescent City.
Oh, yes. And I want to, and it's all on my TBR. But right now, with the pod schedule, because we read a book a week, and I also have to read 2 books a month for work as well. Like, I've read 118 books this year already. I don't read that fast. So my plan, which Molly and I announced in an episode in November, that after season 10 that we're going to go on pretty much an indefinite hiatus. And my plan after that happens is to, after season 10, is to read whatever the fuck I want. So.
I feel that so much. I tell people all the time, like, I never get to pick my next book. Like, it's never my choice. It's always about, what am I reading for the podcast? What am I reading for my social media? Or what am I reading because, like, I genuinely need to be doing, like, keeping myself up to date with this genre, or, doing a little bit of just like, not research is a strong word, but like, I never just get to read what I want. So I feel you. I really feel that.
So that is my plan for the last half of 2026, since we will be wrapping in the first half of 2026. But I mean, 10 seasons, 5 years, that is a long commitment to do the podcast. And I mean, it's been amazing. We've gotten to go to festivals. Doing Columbus Book Festival last year was just the fucking highlight of all of it. Meeting Matt Dinniman, I cannot, like, it was amazing. And the people who listen to the podcast already know this, but I'm going to tell you too. I am doing a fundraiser for work right now, and I emailed all of the authors that we've met through Book Besties and just asked if they would donate a signed copy of their book to be silent auctioned off for us to get new shelving in our kids' area. Because our shelving is from the 80s. It's original to our building when we moved into our building, and it's falling apart. And we really need shelves on casters, because we have a very small space and our community has grown a lot. So we've had to turn kids away from programs, which absolutely breaks my fucking heart. So putting the shelves on casters, we can move them and have more of a space for the kids.
Yeah.
And I am just overwhelmed at the number of authors that were like, I'm not just sending you a book, I'm sending you my whole series, or I'm sending you my book with artwork. And just a friend of mine, Cece Harrington, who writes middle grade, Wild Oak, that's her book right there. It's one of my favorite middle grade books ever. She's donating a 20-minute Zoom session one-on-one with her for whoever buys her book. And I'm in a very small, there are less than 10,000 people in the town where I am. And the fact that most of these kids will never get an experience like that, and she's willing to do that for them. This has been a huge growth in my life, and just making these connections. I've really, really loved it, but I'm also really tired.
I completely understand. I would be, if you're still looking, I would be more than happy to donate a signed copy of the book.
I would love that.
I do that all the time. And I will say to your listeners too, I've actually done a couple of Zoom in sessions with book clubs. So I've had, mostly local to Utah, I've had a couple groups read the book, and then they do like a Q&A with me. So if that is something that you're interested in for your book club, I have
already told my book club, since I have the romance book club, I've told all the ones that I know like romantasy that they need to read your book. Like, I literally at work on Friday, one of them came in and I was like, you have to read this book.
You have to read this book.
She's like, well, I might forget the title. And I was like, I will write it down for you. And here is her name. Get the book.
Yeah. Well, the great thing about the giveaway is you can just read it on Kindle Unlimited if you have that, you know, or buy the ebook for $10. And then you can, you know, potentially win one of the hardcovers, which I have to sell for $35 just because of the...
It's expensive for you to take care of it.
Yeah. So I wish that I could sell them more affordably. You know, I have so many readers that have said, oh, they're so expensive. I know, but I do a lot of giveaways. So I've done I try to do something every couple of months so that I can give people opportunity to win books.
Yeah. Well, listen, Allie, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for your time today. If it's okay with you, I'm going to just share with our listeners what we're doing next week. And then we will wrap up. So next week, I am going to be joined by Nurse Katie. Nurse Katie will actually be on the next 2 episodes with me because Molly is recovering from surgery and, you know, all the positive vibes for her. So we are going to be reading this book, One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. I have had this on my TBR for a while. I own both books and haven't read either one of them. So just killing it. So this is what's next for us. And I'm really excited to talk to Katie about it because she actually read the duology earlier this year and she's going to take the lead on that episode for me because I am doing all the other episodes. But I don't normally show you guys 2 episodes out, but I am going to show you because I'm very excited that we are going to end our season with The Crimson Throne by Sarah Rosh and Beth Revis, and both of the authors will be here to talk about this book. They sent us ARC copies, and I'm really excited. It actually is already out. It came out in October, but we couldn't fit them in until December, and they were still gracious enough to come, and I'm really excited. We had Beth on last season, and she's amazing, and I'm obsessed with her. So, yeah, very excited for this. That's all we've got. Huh?
I said they're both great books. I've read them both. They're amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, I'm really excited because we haven't met Sarah yet, but we met Beth last season because her novella series, the Full Speed to a Crash Landing is the first one. And maybe Tom can edit that and make me look less stupid. But anyway, we had Beth on because I read this trilogy novella and then proceeded to put it on like every library display moving forward. And we have like a little cult following in my tiny town of the series.
That's amazing. That's so amazing. I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah, I really like doing that. And I've done that with a few books, Shark Heart being one of those books as well, that I was like, it's really weird, but you've got to stick with me. It's really good.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Allie, thank you so much. This was delightful.
Thank you.
I am ready for book 2. So I'm going to need you to work on that.
Yep. It will definitely be out in the first half of next year. I don't have a release date yet, but it will definitely be out in the first half of 2026.
Great. I'll be ready to read it. All right. Thank you, besties. We will see you next week. Bye. Thank you for joining us on Book Besties. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The views discussed here are those of April and Molly, not those of anyone else. Today's book was The Witch Queen by our guest, Alexandria Arden. We'd like to thank our sponsor, Carpe Librum, the shop that has bookish things for bookish people. And right now you can save $10 on any order of over $40 using our code HOLIDAY10, which is good for the rest of the year. Your book besties are Molly Biggs and April Watkins, editing by Thomas Watkins, and music is Sleep Sweetly by Prigida. Don't forget to follow the Book Besties on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. If you'd like to contact the Book Besties, please email us at bookbestiespod@gmail.com or visit our website, bookbestiespodcast.com. Until next time, besties, get lost in your favorite book.